So hi everyone. I know it's about time for us to join. I see that we are still waiting for one of our student ambassadors to come. So please bear with us just a few more minutes. But for now, for those who are already here, I want to tell you a big welcome to our webinar dedicated to accommodation opportunities. And for now, as you can see, there are a few instructions on the slide shown on the screen. So please follow those instructions. Mute your microphones and disconnect your camera, just so we'll make sure that the webinar goes smoothly and there are no interruptions throughout the entire webinar. Okay. So we're good. I think all of our student ambassadors are here. Again, for everyone, please follow the instructions and we are about to start. Mute your microphones, disconnect your camera, and if you have any questions, just ask your questions via the chat. So without further ado, let's get started. A big welcome from us to our webinar dedicated to accommodations. My name is Laura. I'm a second-year chemistry student from Republic of Moldova, and tonight I'll be the moderator of the webinar, and I'm joined by my fellow student ambassadors. So guys, would you please introduce yourselves?
Hello everybody, I'm Costanza and I come from Italy and I'm a first-year student of civil engineering.
Nice to meet you, Costanza.
Nice to meet you too, and all of you guys.
Hello everybody, my name is Nikolai. I'm a second-year international business student and I come from Bulgaria.
Hi, Vicky. And there is one more. Omani, are you here?
Yes. Hi everyone. My name is Omani Richardson and I come from St. Martin.
Yes. Okay. So we're here, guys, for you to answer all your questions regarding accommodation opportunities and tell you more from our own experience. Thank you guys for joining us, and thank you to you, our student ambassadors, for being here. So without further ado, let's get started. So because you're here, we assume that most of you must have already got your letter of acceptance, and if that's the case, we want to say a big congratulations to you and a big welcome to Hazed. And we know from our own experience that after you've got the letter of acceptance, the most important thing to do is to actually find the perfect accommodation for you, the accommodation that fits your desires and your needs, and that's why we're here. So that's what we're going to tell you more about tonight. In case you have any questions throughout the entire duration of the webinar, please just write them down in the chat. It's very important to mention that tonight we have here a representative of one of the companies we're going to tell you more about, APV. So hello to Vency. His name is Vency. He's a fourth-year HZ student who's found a job at APV, and now being an APV representative, he'll answer your questions if they're related to funding. So if that's what you're interested in, funding, refunding, payment, then we've got Vance, and you're going to hear information from the first source. Moreover, we also have a representative of the international office over here, Tudor, who's also going to help us answer some questions in the chat. But otherwise, we're also going to pick up your questions if they're directed to us, and we'll make sure that everything gets answered. So please, if you have anything that interests you, just write it down, and we'll make sure that by the end of the webinar, you know everything that's possible to know about accommodations when you're an HZ student. As I said, without further ado, let's get started. We'd like to start by first informing you a little bit about Vlissingen and Middelburg. As you can see, they're located kind of towards the southwest of the Netherlands in a beautiful region called Zeeland. Middelburg actually being the capital of this region. In both cities, Hazed has got its location, and some of the bachelor programs offered in English by Hazed are studied both in Vlissingen and Middelburg. To let you know a little bit more, both of them are touristic town. about 50,000 inhabitants in both of them, and Middelburg is a very vibrant city, buzzing with life, especially in the sunny season of the year. And because it's a city on the smaller side, it's very easy for international students to accommodate and know and find their way around the city. But we'll hear some about it a little bit more later from one of our student ambassadors. I would like to point out that it is the same case for Vlissingen. It's a very small city with a very tight community of international students. Being quite a small town, it has a very relaxed and peaceful vibe. And that actually comes in handy when you have to study for your exams. And here, because the study year is divided in blocks, you've got quite a few study exams per year. Exam sessions per year. And Vlissingen, it's a touristic city, just like Middelburg, but most important, it's a coastal city. And you should never underestimate the power of living in a city by the beach. And from my own experience, I can vouch for that, is that it doesn't matter where you live in Vlissingen, you're always 5 or 10 minutes away from the beach. And if you like to ride a bike, you're even closer. So who doesn't like living by the beach? I guess that's it. And probably most important to mention is that it doesn't matter where you live, both Vlissingen and Middelburg have amazing opportunities for accommodation for prospective students, and some amazing companies are there to help you when it comes to finding the perfect place for you. Here are the bachelor programs that AZ offers in English. We like to point out that what we've noticed is that students tend to choose the city in which they live based on the program they follow. As you can see in the top right corner, on the upper part of the page, you find the programs that are offered in Vlissingen and the others that are offered in Middelburg. But it's nothing written in stone. There are students who study in Middelburg, but they live in Vlissingen, and we'll hear a little bit more about that in a few minutes. And you've heard me blabbering and telling you about Vlissingen and Middelburg and what I think and from my own experience a little bit. But I think, to be honest, that in order to actually get the feeling of the city, it's important to find out from its residents, so from the people who live there. So now we're going to talk a little bit with our student ambassadors. So guys, could you please come in again and tell me what are you studying, which year are you in, and in which city are you living? So Omani, would you like to start?
Yes, sure. So I live in Vlissingen, but I study in Middelburg.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Nikki?
Excuse me? Couldn't.
I wanted to ask Nikolai, what about him? Where does he live, in which of the two cities?
As the viewers saw earlier, in the international business program is here in Vlissingen, and therefore I live here in Vlissingen, and international business is what I study.
Thank you. And Constanza, what about you?
So the civil engineering course is mainly based in Middelburg, as you saw before in the previous slide, and I live in Middelburg.
Okay, thank you very much. Now coming back to you, Omani, I know that you're a first-year student, so you've been here for more than half a year. How does it feel to live in Vlissingen after you've been here for quite a long period of time?
Yeah, for me, Vlissingen is pretty nice because it's really quiet and it's kind of laid back, and it's also near the beach, so there's always something for you to do, even though it's kind of quiet, and there's quite a bit that you can do, but you just have to look around the city a bit and get a feel for it.
True. I agree. It's always the people who look, they always find something to do. And Nikki, you've been here for even a longer period of time, more than a year and a half. If you had to tell our prospective students, our viewers, the advantages of living in Vlissingen, what are those in your opinion?
I think many people, the first thing that they would say is definitely living by the sea, and yeah, you can see from the photo. But what really makes the biggest impression to me is despite the city being small, the upside of that is that we all feel kind of closer, we're more connected, and like this network that is here is what I really appreciate.
True. I agree. From my own experience, I can vouch for that as well. And we've heard a little bit about Vlissingen. What about, let's now hear a little bit about Middelburg and Constanza. I know you've said you're also a first-year student.
Yeah.
How does it feel to live in Middelburg?
So Middelburg is a quite small town as well, and it's very cozy, and it's full of students, especially international students. So as Nikki said, it's really a nice environment as all the students are bonding together, and there's so many opportunities and more, like many events that you can go to and make new friends. So I would say that's a good advantage of being in a small city.
I mean, to be honest, guys, after hearing you talk about the two cities, it would be hard for me to choose the location if it weren't for the study programs.
Yeah.
Okay, we've already said that here. We've already said that we're going to tell you a little bit about the two companies that offer accommodation in both cities. It goes without saying that you can find accommodation through other means. There are students who prefer to contact private landlords and find accommodation for themselves. But from what I know, most of the students and also student ambassadors present here, and myself included, we live with one of the two companies. So we've got Villex, who mainly offers accommodation opportunities in Middelburg, and they offer either single rooms with shared facilities, which start from 200 euros, and you have to pay an additional service cost, or you can choose your own studio with private facilities if that's what you're looking for. The price is a little bit higher, and starting from 300 euros plus additional costs. On the other hand, we have APV Student Housing, which offers accommodation opportunities both in Vlissingen and Middelburg. As you can see on the screen, they've got a campus in Vlissingen called Campus Vlissingen, or Campus de Ruyter, as we know it. And there are multiple rooms, multiple accommodation opportunities you can choose from, ranging from single room, double rooms at varying size, personal studios. So there's quite an amalgam of opportunities or accommodation opportunities you could go from. And if the campus is not what you're looking for, you can either rent a studio in the city center, or you can get a room in a student house. And we're going to learn and find out a little bit more about some of the accommodation opportunities in particular from our student ambassadors present over here. So first of all, I like to start with Omani. Omani, you live with APV in Vlissingen, right?
Yes, I live in APV Vlissingen, and it's a pretty good opportunity for us.
You live in a campus, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah, I live in a campus.
Since you're a first-year student, you've actually looked for accommodation quite not that long ago. Did you find APV by yourself, or were they suggested by the university? Were you helped by the university when looking for renting companies?
Yeah, it was also suggested by the university as well, because APV works very close with the university. And yeah.
Okay, that's really great, especially for prospective students who don't really know their way around. The university is here to help you guys, and we're also here to help and answer questions. You mentioned that you live in the campus. Was the campus the only option that you had, or could you choose between other accommodation opportunities in Vlissingen? And why did you choose the campus in the end?
Okay, so I had different choices, opportunities, but I chose the campus because it was pretty convenient. The prices that we saw, like, they're for fully furnished rooms. Like, you wouldn't have to pay any extra or any like city taxes or anything. It's yeah, it's a pretty good deal, and I really love it. There's a lot of extra services that APV provides, and it's really nice.
Oh, that's really good. That's really nice to hear. And one thing that interests me, and it probably interests our prospective students, I know that commuting might be a concern for some since you live in Vlissingen but study in Middelburg. How do you do that? Is it hard to? Could you please tell our prospective students, is it hard to get from Vlissingen to Middelburg, or is it just doable?
Yeah, it's pretty doable actually. Especially, well, for me, because I came from a very warm country. I came from St. Martin. So when the weather is warm, I have no problems. I bike to Vlissingen, to Middelburg from Vlissingen, so that I could go to school and everything. And yeah, like the previous slide said, one of the previous slides, it's about 30 minutes by bike. It could be a little longer if you bike a little slow. It could be shorter. It depends on the speed at which you bike. And when it got a bit colder, I actually started to catch a bus. And the APV campus is located like really close to a bus stop because it's quite close to a hospital. So the bus stop is right across the road basically, and yeah, then you're able to make it to Middelburg by bus.
You've mentioned extra services, extra facilities that are included in the price you pay per month. Could you please tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So some of the extra services that APV provides, let's say if you have one of the rooms where you share the bathroom and the kitchen, APV, they clean it. They also clean all of the hallways. It's really nice and it's really clean. Some of the extra services that you could get, let's say it's about, I think it was 10 euros per month. And you have access to the basement. And you could use, there's a gym, there's a cinema room, like a small cinema, and there's also like this a small bar kind of thing that students sometimes throw parties and stuff in. So it's really nice, and yeah, it's a really good experience. So if you're a prospective student and you don't want to leave to go to the gym or stuff like that, yeah, you could come to APV and it's pretty nice.
That sounds very tempting. I live in a student house, but I guess if I had a chance, I would go back to the campus in the bat of an eye.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I wanted to say that I saw the picture from the last slide with the view. I personally wanted to ask, is that the view from your own room?
Yeah, actually, I took that picture personally. The last picture there that you see, like, that's what I wake up to every morning, and it's really nice. It's really nice, like, especially when the sun is out and everything, and like my bed is kind of close to the window, so I just wake up and I look outside, and that's what I see.
I'm speechless. It's a very nice view indeed. I wanted to say that I remember that last year, because I, as a first year student, I also lived in the campus. They told us that if you go to the last floor, where you have the study rooms, and if you look through the window, if it's not cloudy, it's very sunny. What you can see the ships actually on the horizons, like actually sailing for the sea. I've never seen it myself, but I could always hear it. And I mean, hope I still have time. I still have time while I'm like as I'm in Vlissingen. So I hope to see that. And for prospective students who are going to live in the campus next year, please look out for it. I've heard it's a view you shouldn't miss.
Actually, that's what I forgot to mention as well. There's also study rooms. I'm actually in one of the study rooms right now because it's usually very quiet. And yeah, you can actually see the view, like when the sun is setting, you could see the horizon. It's really nice, and sometimes you could see like the boats passing in between the buildings, and it's just awesome.
And one last question for you. Based on everything you've said so far, if you had to recommend the campus to a prospective student, what would you say are the advantages of living there?
The advantages, well, yeah, there's a lot of advantages. Like I said, the extra facilities like the gym, the cinema room, the bar, the study rooms as well. It's really close, especially if you're going to school in Vlissingen, it's very close to the school. It's about a 10-minute bike ride. Again, it depends on how fast or slow you bike. And yeah, it has its advantages.
Well, students, you've heard Amani, so hopefully that actually is going to help you when making your choice. So thank you, Amani. We'll ask you some more questions a little bit further away, but now I would like to ask Nikki something. Nikki, I know that last year you also lived in the campus. Could you please explain why you're not living in the campus anymore?
So basically, the first year, people should live in the campus if they had the choice. It's simply there you meet the friends that are gonna live with you in the second year, and basically that's my story. So after living in the campus for 1 year, and of course socializing and stuff, networking, I found very good friends with which I moved into this into a house. And on this picture, you can actually see one of my rooms. So I say one of my rooms because my room is actually two rooms. uh, and the thing that you can do here is that you can choose where you want to live. And I personally heard that there were rooms like this provided by APV, and that's what I wanted to look for. And they were very kind and very yeah open to my requests. So we found a room like this. So this room that you can see is like my office space, and I have another one which is simply a bed and a drawer. I like separating my work from my, I don't know, sleep, because it's better for my health. But yeah, it's also great that I can live with my friends. Uh, I'd like to tell you a little bit about my house, if you don't mind.
Of course, please. I want to hear that, and I'm sure that prospectives also want to hear that.
So, because yeah, the school is actually super close to my house.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can see that it's literally 5 minutes by bike. Everything that I do is by bike because the streets in the Netherlands are just like so adapted to biking, and I really loved it. The first time when I came here, and ever since I've been a biker. Um, we have a balcony in my house from which I also have a nice view. But of course, it's not as tall as the campus, like Omani has. Um, Living with my friends has many benefits. So on our balcony we can have barbecues and stuff. And because my house has, um, it's kind of separated in two floors. The people who live under us are also students, and they have access to a garden where we can store our bikes. Um, what I really like about my room is that when I moved in, it was furnished, which is a big benefit for me because,
Yes,
yeah, come on, like as international students, I can't drag my furniture around the world, and yeah,
indeed.
that was a big plus. Um, in the house, we share a kitchen, two bathrooms, uh, and I think that's it for common spaces.
You mentioned about the room being fully furnished. Let's say you'd like to get something else, or maybe exchange one piece of furniture for something else. Is that possible?
In fact, it is. Actually, when I moved in, my office, so basically the picture that everybody's seeing right now, was actually the everything room. So there was a bed and so on. And the room that was upstairs was free. Um, and I asked APV, hey, would it be okay if you guys help me move my bed upstairs? So some guys came and they helped me, and yeah, everything is great now, and I have my peace.
And that's amazing. But one quite important question actually regarding finances. Let's say you get this help from APB. Do you have to pay any additional cost, or is it included just in the price that you pay for your room per month?
The thing about APV is that my landlord is great, so everything that I would ask for is sort of included in my rent, I suppose. But for example, yeah, there's also people that come and maintain my house. Sometimes they usually clean the common spaces. But yeah, furniture, all of the commodities like water, electricity is all included in my rent. And my rent is, by the way, I forgot to mention, 325, and it's relatively good. I'd say that the average room in a house costs about, yeah, let's say 250-ish and up.
Mhm. Okay, thank you very much for all the details. But one last question. You said that prospective students, first year students, if they get the chance, they should live in the campus. But let's
Yep.
say someone doesn't want to live in the campus. They would like to get the feeling of a student house. Is that possible with APV? Even first year students can live in a student house?
I think it's totally possible. No, I know it is because I know some first year students that are living in houses with some friends that they had from before, maybe from their country or something. But it is simply possible. Yeah.
Thank you for your answers, and I'd say that's really important to know, and that's great to know that they accommodate towards your need. And let's say you come with a friend, then you can probably live with a friend in a student house. From my own experience, I came with my friend, and we even got the chance to share a room in the campus. So it was a double win. It was a win-win situation. We saw, Nikki, I still have a few questions for you. We saw in the first slide that APV offers multiple other accommodation opportunities, studios in the city center. Could you please tell us a little bit more about that, and especially what does a studio mean? Like, what should prospective students who are interested in that expect when they rent a studio?
So the studio is basically, I think that people would know what the definition of a studio is, but it's basically a very small apartment where you have everything you need. You have usually your own bathroom, toilet, and everything. But the benefits of having a studio are that if you find a friend that you can live with, like you, Laura, you can actually live for what I believe is much cheaper than living in a room. And also, as you mentioned, yeah, they're situated in the city center. It's much easier to go to the beach, to the stores. Not that it's easier, but it's like 1 minute. And yeah, I think that it's better simply on a privacy point because you can live by yourself or with the person that you want to live with. And yeah, is there anything else that you would like the prospective students to know?
I think it was a very comprehensive answer. Just to make sure, a studio comes with its own facilities, its own kitchen, its own bathroom, and it's basically your place, and you can live there by yourself.
Yeah,
okay.
Correct.
I think that's a great opportunity for people who are looking, as you said, to live more of a private life and who like their privacy. And as they're located in the city center, you're not far away from anything else. No one, not you and not Omani, has mentioned the beach, and I would like to point out myself that I live in a student house and I live in the city center, and I'm 5 minutes away from the beach if I walk on foot. And I remember that in the campus, when we used to live there, we were 5 or 10 minutes away if we walked from the campus to the beach as well. So that just comes to point out, that comes to, I'd say, yeah. Enforce the idea that no matter where you live in Vlissingen, you're basically very close to the beach, very close to any other facilities, like the even Hazard University, the city center, and all the shops that are over there. Okay, thank you very much.
You too.
As you see, guys, on the slide, there is the APV Vlissingen website, and if you like to see more pictures of the accommodation, if you like to find out a little bit more information about the price for each type of room, you can go on that website, and all the information is provided. Omani, coming back to you, I have one more question because we've talked a little bit about the studios.
Yeah.
Can you rent a studio in the campus, and what other types of room can you get in the campus?
Yes, I actually do live in a studio on the campus. I believe that all studios are on the 5th floor, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I would recommend that you do find someone, anyone that you maybe met during, let's say, like an open day, or someone that you also know that is moving to Vlissingen, and you try, if you want a studio, you try to get a studio with that person, because if you do get one, sometimes they would if they would, there's also like a double studio, as in where you would have two people inside, and yeah, they would find someone else who also didn't register with someone, and they would just put you two together. So yeah, if you're okay with that, then it's no problem. But yeah, it's recommended that you find someone that you know, because it's going to be kind of awkward if you don't. But yeah, the price for me is about 375 because I live with someone else, and yeah, we both pay 375. And for the double rooms, for the single rooms, first of all, it's 300 euros. And then for the big single room, it's 350 or 325, I think.
Sorry for interrupting you. There is a question popping up from one of the people watching, and they're asking if it's difficult to find accommodation at the end of July. I guess that's a question which comes in for all of us. So could you please, guys, talk a little bit about your experience, or about about your ideas about that? Is it hard to find accommodation in Vlissingen and in Middelburg at the end of July?
Okay, I'll go first, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would be a bit more difficult because yeah, other international students and students that are coming over here would already apply, and yeah, it's gonna kind of limit the options that you would have, and you're just gonna have to settle for whatever's left, basically. But if you start looking in advance and you book something in advance, it will be much easier for you.
Okay, thank you. Nikolai, would you like to add anything regarding Vlissingen? I guess not. Costanza, could you please tell us what, like, the situation in Middelburg? Do you think it will be hard to find accommodation in Middelburg in the month of July?
Well, obviously, as Amani said, it's going to be a bit more challenging as many students are going to arrive and many accommodations are already booked. So yeah, the choice is going to be limited. But I have read a question about the acceptance letter, and regarding that, when you rent a accommodation with Villex, I think it's the same for APV. They want the acceptance letter as well, because if you don't have it, they're not going to rent you the house. However, I personally registered before I got my acceptance letter, and APV contacted me straight away. They were super nice, and they gave me a accommodation, and well, actually 3 accommodations, and I had to choose out of the 3. And then I told them I had to wait 2 weeks to get my acceptance letter, but they already booked 1 accommodation for me. And then as I got my acceptance letter, I actually paid for the accommodations. So I would say, like, even though you don't have the acceptance letter, maybe just have a look and try to email them, because they can actually book one for you and leave it there.
Okay, thank you very much for the comprehensive answer, guys. So Costanza, staying with you, because I think we've covered almost everything we could cover when it comes to Vlissingen. So it's good for our students to find out more about living in Middelburg. So could you please tell us again the agency you live in Middelburg and the type of accommodation you have over there?
So when I decided to live in Middelburg, I had a choice out of 4 campuses. 3 of them gave you the opportunity to choose studios. So as the other students already mentioned, studios are small rooms which have your private kitchen in your private bathrooms. Obviously, they're smaller than you would expect, but they're still really handy. And then the fourth campus is called Beheinhof, and it's rather a big campus full of small houses, and each house has their own rooms. So it's like a small student houses, and there's like 5 to 6 or 7 rooms. So there's like 6 or 7 students in one house. They share the kitchen and the bathrooms, and it feels like staying at home in a small family. And I would actually recommend it. I live in one of the student houses, not in Beheinhof, but very close to the school. And my student house is actually both for working people and students. Mm-hmm. So I got to meet a dentist who's 42 years old, but then I was my roommate, well, my housemate, is a second-year student at a civil engineering course as well. And yeah, as I mentioned before, student houses are different than campuses. In a campus, you're alone in your studio, or you're in a studio with somebody else if you have the double studio or the double room. But in a student house, as you share the kitchen, you get to know literally the whole house. So in my house, we are 9 people, and we're like a big family. We have got the group chat, and we created some events. For example, every Monday night we cooked different traditional meals. So we had a student from Oman. He cooked us something Omani, and then I cooked something Italian, and I tasted some Dutch food and some Greek food. It was just awesome, and I am still in contact with them. Yeah, and I think it's like different. It's like my second family.
Oh, that's very emotional. I mean, that's beautiful. I guess that's the best part when it comes to living in student houses and living with people from various countries. Just you meet so many cultures, and you meet people from so many places from all around the globe. And you mentioned you live in you mentioned the facilities, and you mentioned the location of the student houses. Could you please tell me, I mean, the advantage of the place where you live in, like in regards to how far it's located from the university, how far it's located from the city center, the shops around Middelburg?
Okay, so it is actually very, very close to the university, less than 2 minutes walking distance. And to the closest grocery shop is actually like, I don't know, 30 seconds away from my house. Everything is really, really close. And sometimes some of my courses are in Vlissingen, but it's not a problem because, as the other students mentioned before, if you have a bike, it's super easy to get there. Yeah, you take 20-30 minutes to bike to Vlissingen. And on really cold or rainy days, you can get the bus, and it takes like, I think, 10-15 minutes. So it's super nice and super close. The city center, you can walk and get there in 5 minutes, or bike and get there in 1 minute. I saw many students with skateboards as well, so that's nice. And I have to say, even though there's many campuses, you can walk to all of them, and they're close to each other, and there's some meeting points as well. And I met several students from the Beheinhof campus, and in that campus there's both students from the Hazet University and the other university in Middelburg, which is the UCR, the University College Roosevelt. And so that it's like a nice mix, and you get to know different people from different universities and different courses as well. So it's a fully experience. It's really nice.
You've mentioned the other university, and to me it sounds like Middelburg is basically a student city, like a university town. I mean, I was when preparing for the webinar, I was searching up online both Vlissingen and Middelburg, and they got recommended, to be honest, I'm really honest right now. They got recommended as one of the best university cities in the Netherlands. And for Middelburg, I mean, I mentioned in the beginning that it's buzzing with life and vibrant, especially in the as I've seen it in the sunny times, in the spring times of the year. How would you describe Middelburg? How do you find Middelburg? And just to let our prospective students watching know.
I would describe Middelburg as a very versatile town because being so small, it's both full of events for all the students, but then it's a really good and optimum environment to study. I think I have never studied so well in my life because sometimes really it's cold outside and you're in your room and you make it cozy and everything and you're just like fully motivated. But then other times, especially at night, they create events and you'll go and meet there and you see the whole city in that space because as Laura mentioned, it's a student town and it is really nice. It's like a big community.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Constanza. One last question to the people living in Middelburg, living in Vlissingen with APV and especially Omani. Being an IEM student, are you planning on moving next year to Middelburg, or you're still looking to stay in Vlissingen?
Yes, next year I will actually be moving to Middelburg because it's still with APV.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll also be closer to school. So it's a good opportunity for me to move because I also, like I said previously, I go to school in Middelburg, and it makes more sense to move to Middelburg.
So what you're saying is APV is going to have a new campus in Middelburg, or is it student houses that you can also get with them?
It's a new campus that they're going to be opening. So I will actually be moving to one of those. I'm going to be moving to one of the studios that they will be having. So it's going to be a really nice experience because there's also a few of my classmates that are living here in the campus. We would also be moving to Middelburg together. So it's going to be really nice. And I would recommend APV always. Like Davor, who's the landlord, he's really nice. He's great, and everything is just really nice. So I'm going to stick with this at APV.
Okay. Thank you for pointing out that APV is also going to have a campus in Middelburg. We've already heard Constanza talking about Villex, and they seem a very an amazing company, a very professional company. And you've already talked about APV, and I have firsthand experience with them as well, so I can totally vouch for their degree of professionalism as well. So it's good for people who are going to follow the study programs in Middelburg. It's good for them to know that they can either choose to live with Villex or APV depending on what they are looking for. So thank you guys for answering the questions. I would like to point out that we are slowly coming towards the end of this webinar, and I would only like to walk you through the application process. So first, with the APV application process, I always suggest getting in contact with APV. You have here the email address, so you can send an email. They're very quick to answer, so you're going to get an answer quite fast. But also, I suggest going on their website, as you can see on the screen, and there is the option register now. So just click on that, fill in the details, and then submit your application. And if you didn't contact them via email, you're going to get contacted by them via an email. So everything is very quick. And as you've already heard from our perspectives, from our student ambassadors, and you've already been told in the chat, just get in contact with them. Try to see what type of room, what are the possibilities, what are the accommodations, accommodation options that they offer. It's always better to just be prepared. And although we are in certain situations, just check it out. Just give it a try and see if you can find what you're looking for. And as you can see, the process of applying for accommodation with APV is quite easy, and is the same case for Villex. Here you have a walkthrough with bullet points on how to apply for accommodation with Villex. So as you can see, that's the website. And when you go on their website, you have the opportunity of register as a Hazard student. Again, you just click on that, it's a questionnaire with some information that you have to fill in. So you fill in that information, you press submit, and that's your application. And as well, if you'd like to contact them by yourself and just find out some more information, Villex's email address is on the screen, so you can always just send an email and you'll be contacted by them. So that's it for the application process. If you have any questions, I'd like to point out that you can always go on hz.nl/chat and get in contact with us, Nikolai, Omani, or Laura. You can get in contact with us via, if you find us, I guess you can get in contact with us through our email address, our school email address. I think I speak for everyone, for all of our student ambassadors, when I say that if we can help you, we're going to help you, and we're more than eager and more than welcome to answer any of your questions, because we've already been in your shoes. We know how exciting but as well tiring it might be when you are trying to apply for universities abroad, when you have to move from your home country to another country. So we're more than happy to share our own experience with you. So yeah, hz.nl/chat for if you want to talk to us. And for more information, we invite you to join our Facebook group, HZ Prospective Students. Follow us on Instagram, HZ International. We have some amazing content over there, and you can see the experience of students from all years, starting from the first to the fourth year, their experience as being students at HZ. So that's more than interesting when you see what others are doing. And for more information, and if you liked our webinar and you'd like to follow some more, please go on hz.nl/en/events to see what our webinars are coming up and register for them if you're interested. And I guess that's it. We've come to an end, and we like to end everything by saying that you can't buy happiness, but you can go to the Netherlands, and that's pretty much the same. And you can come to HZ, and that's more than the same. That's more than happiness. So thank you for watching. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you to you, Costanza, Nikki, and Omani, for joining and for being so receptive and being here to answer the questions of our prospective students. And it was a pleasure to be here with you. If you have any more questions, we're still here for a little bit, so you can still ask. But that's it. Thank you again. I guess that's everything I have to say.
Thank you, Laura, for being a great host.
Oh, thank you, Nikki. I would like to point out just Costanza. Oh, there was a question and it already got answered, so it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, guys.
Oh, in the chat, someone asked about the new APV campus in Middelburg. So maybe Vinci can answer that, because I'm not too sure about all of the details on it.
I was looking at it, and Vinci already came with the answer, because I myself also don't know much about it. So yeah. It's good that they already got the information.
I'm really excited about the campus in Middelburg. I'm interested to see how it's gonna look.
Same. I will already have the experience of the campus in Vlissingen. So yeah. So, Omani, I guess we count as friends now. So next year, if we are in Middelburg, we are just gonna pop up.
I guess
please give us a tour.
Yes.
Guys, there is one more question. I'm sorry, which we didn't address, and I think it's very important. It would be very important. There is one question from Lara saying, what would be the total cost for living expensive there? Of course, it all depends on where you want to stay, but still, could you please give your input?
Sure, I could start. Living expenses as in like in total, like let's say shopping and everything, or?
I think so, counting rent, money you spend monthly, food, grocery shopping.
Okay, well, yeah, I usually spend about 20 to 30 euros per month on groceries and stuff. Not per month, per week, sorry. Yeah, per week. So, yeah, you could say about 100 euros, so yeah, it's pretty okay. It's pretty nice. Sometimes I order out, of course, as well because I don't always cook and everything. So, yeah, that plus I pay the 375 per month. So, yeah, you could manage with about, let's say, minimum 500 euros.
Oh, thank you. What about you guys? Nikki and Costanza, would you like to give your input as well?
Well, in Middelburg, there's a big grocery shop, which is Albert Heijn, and it has really good deals. So yeah, at the end, I don't pay that much, but I would say like money, like yeah, 500, including the rent per month is what I would spend. And I know that in Vlissingen, there's a little for the grocery shops, and that's really, really cheap, but still very good. So that's, yeah, optimum.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your input.
If I could say something, yeah, if you're an international student, you need to know about Lidl, Jumbo, and Albert Heijn's. Like if you're looking for accommodations, that's great, but you also need to know what these three places are, and you need to know the prices, especially if you're trying to live on a budget. So I usually shop at Lidl first, and whatever I can't find at Lidl, I go to the Jumbo, and if I really, really need it, I go to the Albert Heijn. But yeah, the Albert Heijn is the more expensive option from the three. So I recommend that you do some research before you come down here and you're just buying only from one supermarket or grocery store.
Those are, I would call those tips coming from already experienced people who have been here for for a longer period of time. And there's one more question from there, and they're asking, is it hard to be a volunteer for the as an international student? I guess they're what they're trying to say, is it hard to be a student ambassador, and how do you find being a student ambassador? So Omani, I guess you can start.
Okay, yeah, being a student ambassador is great. You do stuff like this. For example, you host some webinars. There's also events, like we're usually at the open days as well. And there's also like sometimes, let's say, we would have like happy talks and stuff. So everyone would just get together and it's really nice, and yeah, it's fun. And it's all about helping prospective students and students that are already there. So it's a really good experience.
And I would like to just add myself that indeed it's a very nice community, and by being a student ambassador, you find other people. You make it's easier to make friends. You meet new people from different study programs that you maybe wouldn't get a chance to meet otherwise. And as Constanza said previously, you just form a very tight international community, and I feel like that's one of the most important aspects when it comes to living abroad. And one more question for you guys. I don't know if you have part-time jobs or student jobs, but someone is asking, is it hard to find a part-time job when you don't speak Dutch? So if you have experience of that, would you be able to answer? If not, then maybe I can give my input.
Maybe I can answer this question. So yeah, last year, about around this time, I started looking for a job because I was planning to stay in Vlissingen for the summer. So basically, I found that the best way to find a job is not to send emails, send CVs, and so on. It was to go to a place directly and ask, hey, are you recruiting people? And that's how I found a job in a restaurant as a waiter, which it's not a desk job that would give me like something nice to write in my CV. However, I was able to get some money out of it, and I don't know, live well for some time. Yeah, but I would say that regarding the question, I'd say it's easy to find a job over here. Even if you don't find a job as a waiter, you can still find a job as a, I don't know, dishwasher or something like that. So like, yeah.
Okay, so it's possible. Finding a job without Dutch is possible.
Yep. If I could add something, also the work zone from Hazet, they also like give you like job vacancies, like they tell you about job vacancies and stuff. So they would email it to you, and yeah, it's usually English speaking jobs as well. So they're very helpful as well.
Okay, that's a very important thing to add for our prospective students. Constanza, would you like to add anything about job situations in Middelburg?
Well, I have joined the university in February, so it was winter, and it was a bit more difficult to find a job, especially if you do not speak Dutch. So it is much easier to find jobs in summer as more tourists come there. However, there's still lots of opportunities. I know for sure McDonald's accepts international students, or an ice cream shop, but that is only open in the summer. And in my campus in Middelburg, we have got a space where we can eat, and they offer food, and sometimes they ask students to help out, and you get a free meal. So that's
Cool.
a small job that you can do, but yeah, they don't pay you, but you get free meal.
Food is always good. Food is always welcome.
Yeah.
Where do you live again? I need to go over there.
I guess those are one of the perks living with Villex in the location that Constanza is staying at. But that's it, guys. To sum it up for this question, to summarize it for this question, it might be hard in the winter months, but as Constanza said, it's easier when it comes to summer to find a job if you don't speak Dutch, especially if you're looking for restaurants, just as Nikki pointed out. But it's doable. Everything is doable. I can vouch for that as well. I'm looking for the question, guys, and I think everything has been answered. I would like to say a big thank you to Vancy for being so receptive and being so quick to answer the questions in the chat. Also Tudor, who's been giving out answers on the chat. Thank you guys for helping as well. Oh, someone said thank you. Someone said thank you to all of us and told us to enjoy our day. Thank you, Darius, and enjoy your day as well. We hope to see you at Hazet. I guess we've come to an end, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for your questions. And if you have anything more to ask, just get in contact with us by going to hz.nl/chat, and our faces are going to pop up so you can message us at any time.